there. Welcome to First Glance with Jody Vance. This is an edition I know I'm going to enjoy because it's finally in a medium that I kind of understand. It works in sort of my industry in some regard. I want to talk about AMPD Ventures Inc. The CEO is Anthony Brown. He's with me now. You can see Anthony. Hi, Anthony.
Hello.
We're talking about this very cool Vancouver-based business. It's been around for close to 20 years, and it is, well, I'm going to let Anthony explain it, but what I want to tell you, our viewer, our listener to First Glance with Jody Vance, is this is one of those companies that's established, it's got a mission, it's on a great path, and this is a great opportunity to get in, I want to say on the ground floor, but you've already established quite a bit in your company, Anthony, as well as in the industry. So tell us a little bit more about AMPD, who you are and where you're headed. Let's start with the Coles Notes version of what the company does.
Sure. Well, I guess the first thing is, just to clarify, is that AMPD, which we do refer to as AMPD, started in actually April 2015. But AMPD is really the culmination of several businesses that I've run over the past couple of decades.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, my first business starting back in 2000 was a company called Seven Group. And Seven Group built high performance compute infrastructure for digital media companies. In fact, at some point, probably around 2008 or so, we achieved almost 70% market share in Canada, working with all of the major brands you've ever heard of, from Disney to Technicolor to Universal to you name it, building out digital content creation infrastructure. And then in 2012, we decided to get on the other side of the glass and publish video games. And so we started Canada's first AAA publishing company, and we published a big name title, MechWarrior Online, which had about 3 million players last time I checked, and cover of PC Gamer multiple times, etc. And really the experience of having built out high performance computing for digital content creation and then having to host a live application for millions of players in a latency sensitive esports game is what informed us as to what we need to do as far as AMPD is concerned. So AMPD, really, our mission is to build this next generation of digital infrastructure, the stuff that's capable of hosting the Metaverse, if you will. And that is really, our mission at AMPD. It's to build this next generation of digital infrastructure, the next internet, to be able to host all the great applications around things like virtual reality, mixed reality, artificial intelligence, all of that fun stuff. Needs a new type of infrastructure, a low latency, high performance computing infrastructure to run on. And that's what we do.
When you said Metaverse, I literally got goosebumps. That's exciting. And knowing that you were already at the cutting edge of this type of technology, you mentioned every major player when it comes to animation, which was a big part of this. And you had the partnerships both here in Canada and globally, but you had the one with the studio, the big studio here in Vancouver. Remind me of that. Oh,
so one of the studios that we work with is a company called Bardell Entertainment. Yes. And Bardell makes one of my favorite shows. They make Rick and Morty. So
yes, guy.
To know that Rick and Morty is rendered on our render farm is kind of a fun and cool thing. And it's funny, like Rick and Morty, everybody sees that show, it looks like 2D animation, but in fact, they actually generate all of that animation in CG, in full 3D, and then just make it look like 2D. So it actually does take quite a bit of computing to be able to pull that off. And so, yeah.
I love this so much. Okay, but before we dig down a little deeper, because we will, people are thinking AMPD, what's the stock symbol? Let me say it again, AMPD Ventures Inc. So it trades on the Canadian exchange, right? AMPD. And then if you're trading in US dollars, it's under AMPDF, right? On the OTC?
On the OTC, that's right, yeah.
Right, okay. So before we get into more, and I've got lots that I want to just pick your brain about, because this is so fascinating for me. How does somebody working in the industry that you're working in have such a ridiculously poor, hello? I'm going to be on Room Raider. And what is going on, Anthony Brown?
Yeah. Well, you know, I actually, as it turns out, I'm on a very short vacation, and I'm staying at a lovely suite on the island, visiting some family on Vancouver Island.
Nice.
And so this is the little office in the hotel suite that I'm in, and so next time it'll either be from my office or from my home, and you'll be able to see all the appropriate geek types of posters and you know, miniatures behind me on my next call. I promise.
Well, I had to, and we'll give a little shout out to Room Raider, because I did, you know, here get a 10 out of 10. I'm just saying.
Nice.
Just saying. So you got some competition. No, I love this. Okay, let's get back to the company, because it's customized, high performance computing, cloud solutions. Like, there's a lot that you have your hands in, and as you mentioned, that metaverse. Like, when you start talking about being able to host that next level. I mean, as a sports broadcaster and a broadcaster, I see where this is going. Like, online gaming, esports going to be an Olympic sport at some point.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, they held, I think it was the Dota 2 championships here a couple of years ago in Vancouver, and they sold out GM Place for 3 days in a row.
BC Place, even bigger.
I thought it was actually Rogers, wasn't it? I thought it was Rogers. Yeah, I thought it was Rogers Arena. Yeah, but I could be wrong.
You're probably right. You're probably right. This is but I tried to get tickets for my son, and it was like $400 a seat in the cheap seats.
Yeah, and they were all sold out. So I mean, we're already seeing. You know, I think the last World's Championship, which is a big esports championship, had something like 10x the number of people watching it that watched the NBA championships.
Right. So, you know what? You're right. It was Rogers Arena. It just dawned on me, because a friend of mine works in the behind the scenes, because we're having worked in both of those buildings. That's why it confused me. But Elaine Verrier works the Jumbotron. She does the main game board. And she's like, I cannot believe the level of excitement in this building for this competition and the prize money. Anthony, the prize money at stake.
Yeah, it's pretty big, but you know, I mean, the cool thing is that esports is just the first beginning inklings of what we're going to see with this idea of the metaverse, right? This interactive 3D world in which we can all see each other, hear each other, and interact with it without a keyboard or a mouse, just with voice and you know, actually interacting and touching things and moving things around. And the reason why it's exciting around esports, from my perspective, or from an AMPD perspective, is that it's very latency sensitive, right? So this is a type of computing that requires a lot of communication back and forth between the client, the computer at home, and the server in the cloud, right? Now, to take it to the next level with a fully 3D interactive immersive universe that you're interacting in, the latency sensitivity is immense. It really has to be almost instantaneous.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, even a slight lag in a VR headset can make you a bit woozy. So, you know, being able to be able to do computing at, you know, hyper speeds is what's going to be required for that. So, I mean, esports is exciting. It's certainly an area of focus for us. It's certainly an area that we have a lot of experience in, having launched MechWarrior Online. But you know, what we see coming down the pipe with the metaverse and virtual reality and mixed reality, and you know, eventually you'll be able to use your glasses, right? You won't have to have this big cumbersome headset. You'll just have these, you know, XR glasses. Yeah, then they'll plug into your phone or something, and you'll be able to interact with this whole other world. And it will basically, over time, kind of just subsume the internet as we know it, the 2D space with the Facebooks and so on. I mean, you do know that the CEO of Facebook, you know, also said that this is the future of the internet. This is the direction that it's going, invested immensely, you know, I think it was Facebook that purchased Oculus as well.
I do think so.
Yeah, and you know, it's moved in that direction.
They just announced the Ray-Ban thing too, right?
Yeah, right. Glasses. That's right. So this technology is coming along a lot faster than most people think. Yeah. And to not only interact with that technology live, But then to be able to create that technology, create the content for it, requires a lot of very special stuff, things like volumetric capture. So you're not just shooting something in 2D or even 3D. 3D only needs 2 cameras, right? One for each eye, right? But volumetric cameras, being able to actually capture the whole volume in real time, that's like 100 cameras running simultaneously at thousands of frames a second to be able to do that sort of capture. And just think about the amount of data that creates. Just think about what it takes to interact with that kind of data. And you'll start to get a picture as to what we see coming.
So the snippets, I love this. Fascinating stuff. We're with Anthony Brown, CEO, again, of AMPD, AMPD Ventures, Inc. Anthony, the piece of this, like, as you're talking, because again, my sports background coming into play, that full capture is like what we're seeing now in that, you know, dive over the goal line in the NFL, and it's like frozen and you can see it from all angles, you know, how those work, and trying to think about those on everything at all times. It is a metaverse. You're really exciting me in terms of what you're putting on the table and things, you know, rushing towards that more quickly than perhaps any of us could imagine. So from an investor's point of view, how do investors differentiate what AMPD is doing in what seems like well, frankly, a very busy sector? I mean, there are a lot of tech companies wanting to, you know, get in on what is going to be the future here. How does AMPD set itself apart?
Well, I think the main differentiator is that, you know, in any type of gold rush, and this is a technology gold rush, you have those miners that are going out there hoping to strike gold and hoping to find that killer app or hoping to create that content that everybody loves. But what AMPD is the guy selling the picks and shovels, the guy that's sending those folks off to create that content, sending those folks off to create the metaverse, and we're providing all of the tools and the underlying infrastructure to host it and help create that content. And so really the main differentiator between AMPD and you know, other metaverse or esports companies is that we're more of a picks and shovels underlying infrastructure play than we are actually generating the content ourselves. Our customers generate the content.
This is great.
You know, that's really the main differentiator between us. And you know, this is a worldwide a worldwide phenomenon, and as such, AMPD is also doing this in a worldwide approach. So we recently announced the launch of the AMPD pods. These are basically small pieces of infrastructure. Well, when I say small, enough to be able to host a small piece of the metaverse, if you will, being deployed all over the world. So our first 3 are going to be in Vancouver, LA, and Amsterdam to get things kicked off, and we'll continue to roll out these pods and grow these pods in each one of these geographies as the customers come on to use them. And so this is, you know, an international play. It's a new infrastructure that's going to slowly kind of take over from the big cloud providers and so on as things grow.
It is really quite something to sort of get brought up to speed here. I know it is for me, so it must be for our First Glance with Jody Vance viewer or listener on our podcast. You have a long-standing relationship with our guru here at the company, Chris Perry of EQUITY.GURU. We've known Chris for a long, long time. Chris does his due diligence, as we all know, loves to bring in people who he feels are worthy of an investment dollar. If somebody wants more information about AMPD, Anthony, how do they find out more? Where do they go to connect with you?
Yeah, the easiest way to do that is just to go to our website. So it's just ampd.tech, AMPD.C, TECH. And then you can click on the investor section. You'll get access to all kinds of videos, documents, access to our financials, you know, all of the publicly presented materials will all be available there. And you can also reach out directly to us at ir@ampd.tech. And I'll do my best to respond as quickly as I can. Lately, there's been a lot of those emails coming in as things have started to ramp up here with AMPD, but I'll do my very best to respond as quickly as I can. I answer most of those IR emails myself late in the evening usually. So,
I love that.
Happy to answer any questions that come our way.
IR@amped.tech is that email address. Amped, AMPD, Amped Ventures Inc. You can find that, of course, on the Canadian exchange. And then trading, I want to make sure I get this right, trading on the OTC venture market under Amped F in the US. Right. Who started trading there on July 1st. Congratulations on your success to this point, Anthony. And I hope you check back in with us soon and keep us abreast of things as they move forward, what sounds like quickly into that metaverse. Thank you for this.
Looking forward to it.